Hi, it's me, Alex, instructor and founder of Dispatch Training Center. Today is October 1st, and probably all of you woke up to the same stories and lots of lives. I am not going to go over and I am not going to add interviews and the news highlights, but I want to make sure that my students, which took class or which are taking classes right now, understand the impact of what's going on today. So, as many of you know, that strike started. So, what strike are we talking about? Well, we are talking about the port worker strike, and it's affecting strike ports from Maine all the way to Texas. We're talking about 50,000 workers, and they are part of International Longshoremen's Association, ILA. Probably if you were scrolling today on YouTube or Instagram, you were watching everybody's talking about it. Economists are talking about it, attorneys talking about this, transportation company, people who are predicting if the stocks are going to go down. So everybody have been talking about this nonstop. Let's go back and kind of review this. You see, actually, the interview with president of ILA, and he is demanding certain things for his workers. So let's go and start actually understanding what is a strike about. Well, first, you have to understand that the union entering into the end of their 6-year contract. And they are simply want increase in their pay. But it's not just about the pay. Well, it's about also importance of understanding that they are afraid to lose their jobs due to actually innovations, due to ports trying to take their jobs with robots. So that's what the main concern is. Plus, you also have to understand that this is around 50,000 members that went on strike. Well, the strike began at midnight and will affect different parts of the country. It will affect economy, it will affect supply chain, and we going to see, well, how are they willing to fix this? Everybody is hoping, well, White House is gonna step in, president is gonna try to fix this, but doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. Well, we are almost into the presidential election, and I don't think that they can handle another issue like this. So they're simply telling that the workers need to come up to agreement. Not fair, because they were the workers who were working during the COVID, same as the truckers. So truck drivers did not stay home. We were bringing the goods and supplies to everybody. And those workers were still loading and unloading those containers. And nobody really cared. Nobody gave them extra money. And the biggest thing is that companies who are actually using all of this and bringing the goods, they're making billions and billions of dollars. So the workers finally saying, well, we are working here. It's not an easy job. Is it easy to be working on those docks? No, first, they have to pass physical examination because you have to be fit. It's not an easy job. Secondary, they are worried about losing their jobs in the near future. So simply, workers are protesting against the lack of pay raises, and they just want to keep up with inflation. And they are concerned about their potential job losses due to automation like robots and artificial intelligence. Well, will this have impact on the supply chain? Will this gonna have impact on manufacturing and other industries? Will this actually kill trucking? Because trucking is in direct contact with all the import export. So will this kill truckers? Will this truck market even lower than it is already? Well, let's see other data first before we're gonna make any conclusion. First, let's go back how much they making right now. Well, they are stating that they are making approximately $39 per hour, which is indication of 11% increase in the last 6 years. Look at the inflation rate. It's approximately 24%. So, what are their demands? What are they really asking? Well, they are asking for 77% wage increase over the next 7 years. They want to make sure that they have better job protection, and they want to make sure that they will not lose the jobs due to all automations, artificial intelligence, and all other innovations. So that's all they want. Can you blame them? Well, they spent 10, 15, 20 years. They just want to make sure that they can still make money to support their family. They still want to make sure that after working 15, 20 years in the ports, that their pension is going to be there. Can you blame them? No, not really. So let's see how many ports are actually affected by this. Well, it's approximately 1/3 of the port business in the USA. Well, this union is only have members through the port from the Maine all the way to Texas. That's why we do not see the West Coast going on strike, because this is a different organization, different union. So when was the last time when the strike happened? And it actually goes back all the way to 1977. Well, very easy to calculate for me. 47 years ago, because this is the year I was born, 1977. So since then, this is the strike, and it actually involves over 50,000 workers. Well, let's look at historical side and let's see what percentages of the strikes are usually fail. And unfortunately, we can see that over 40% of them are failing. Well, hopefully we're going to see positive outcome. But let's go look through other data. First, let's see what are the busiest ports are in USA. Because as a dispatcher, as a person who works in transportation, well, you have to be familiar with your data. And this is the ports which are right here. Let me make myself a little bit smaller there so you can see. I just put 10 biggest, and this is data comes, of course, from the internet sources. So let's see. Well, number one is the Port of Los Angeles, California. Port of Long Beach is second. Then we have New York and New Jersey. We have Port of Savannah in the fourth place. Then we're going back to West Coast, Tacoma, Washington. And we're going back to Houston, Texas. We're going to South Carolina, Charleston, and then again, West Coast, back to East Coast in Virginia, and Port of Miami, Florida. So those are 10 the biggest ports in the USA. And of course, probably 5 or 6 are affected by this strike. Well, let's see. Since the strike happened and it's been going on and preparations been going on for a few months, for a few weeks, of course, a lot of companies will start looking into bringing the goods through West Coast. And if you go and you read this article, which was posted today on freightwaivers.com, so that's a source I am using, well, they already telling us that they are moving the record volume for the West Coast containers. And well, is the biggest question is, will this actually brings the shortage of the goods, retail goods, groceries in America? Everybody is worried that I have to go and start buying extra food. This is a question. Well, I'm a mom, I'm a grandma, and I want to make sure that I am not going through any shortage of, first necessities and the food as well. So the question is, should you start buying extra food? And what are we actually looking into having kind of problem is? Well, first, if we're gonna have any shortage, we all gonna see increase of prices. Prices already went up for groceries, especially. So if there are going to be any shortage involved, well, those prices are going to go up. And unfortunately, can we really deal with another jump of food prices? Not really. Economy is already dealing with such a high inflation. I don't think so that average American family can afford it. But let's look, what usually do we bring to those ports? And well, everybody was going bananas today because everybody's worried about bananas. Well, I can tell you this. I grew up in Ukraine. I did not really eat banana until I was 16 years old and I survived. So, do I worry about bananas? No, I do not worry about bananas, but I want to make sure that we don't have a shortage of medical supplies, electronics, auto parts, shoes, food. While chocolate, well, probably we can manage to be without chocolate. Alcohol, yes, we can probably be okay without alcohol, but something like baby formula, for example, I'm telling you, I just became a grandma and suddenly my daughter called me and she said, Mom, there is no formula available. Can you please go to surrounding stores and buy extra formula? And that's what I had to do. And it was day before the strike. So if it's gonna go for a week or two or three, will everybody's gonna start going crazy and buying extra stuff, which is going to make this situation actually going out of hand? Well, we shall see. Cannot predict what's gonna happen, but if you read through the resources, everybody's asking, should we stock up on the food? And all the experts, they are not really telling you, oh, you shouldn't or you should, but they are kind of saying, well, you should have at least week of the supply for your food and water, and at least have flashlights and other things which are really important. Well, a lot of people worried. We are entering into the winter. We are entering into the cold season in a lot of states. Well, will the port strike affect the gas supply? Well, the association is promising us that it's not gonna affect and disturb the impact, and it should not have impact on the crude oil, gasoline, natural gas, and any other liquid fuel export and import. So that's what we hear. But what's gonna happen? Is finally trucking gonna get destroyed by this strike? How long is it gonna last? Well, we all looking for those answers, and unfortunately, we are hoping that this is going to be resolved fast. Can we really afford, as a country, in this economy, to let this go into months? Not really. But you have to remember that every day is going to affect our economy. And the faster we can find the solution to this, well, the better it's going to be for every American. In the trucking industry, what negative effect it might have? Well, first, we don't have enough volume of the freight already. That's why we have seen so low rates, because we have overcapacity of equipment, too many trucks on the road and not enough freight. So that was been a struggle in the last year and a half. So most of the companies already actually suffering to survive. While for some of the companies, this is going to be major effect, because if the prices are gonna go down, and we're gonna actually start monitoring it daily, how this affecting the prices for transportation of the goods for motor carrier. Because my predictions are that sometimes we're going to see the spot market rates in California now, since all the goods are moving to West Coast. Well, they will need the trucks. So what are we going to see? Well, all the truckers, most of them are going to try to go to California. Well, maybe the first few weeks of all of this situation, the price is going to go really maybe higher. But then again, we're going to have enough trucks there, and the prices are not going to stay the same. So they will go lower. But now on East Coast, all these ports, they are actually not loading, unloading. So first, a lot of goods are going to get spoiled. I don't care if it's a bananas, if it's a seafood, if it's a auto parts. So yes, the things which are going to get spoiled, well, it's not really a good situation for anybody. But think about further, all those containers which are not getting unloaded, what's going to happen? Well, they need to go back to countries where it's shipped from, and mostly, let's say, they have to go back to China, because that's where we bring goods from most of the time. So this is gonna interrupt the schedule, right? So if the China does not have containers on time to bring the goods effect, it's gonna affect our holiday season. It's gonna affect trucking no matter what. And unfortunately, I wish I would be entering live today with a good news, but it does not look good. I just want to make sure that as a dispatcher, you understand that this is your job to stay on top of what's going on. You need to monitor, you have to read articles, you have to build that logical thinking first, but also you have to see the highlights and how strike is going to affect your job as a dispatcher tomorrow, week after. How is it going to affect you as a motor carrier? What things can you do to actually maybe prepare your company for something like this? Also, our hearts are going to every family that have been affected by Hurricane Helene, and we know that right now that's areas are affected and ports workers went on strike. So we still need to bring the supplies, we still need to help affected families. And this is already extreme situation. Well, hopefully all together we can find a solution. Stay tuned, and please look at updated schedules, because due to natural disaster we did move our IFTA training a little bit further. Same with our October training for dispatchers and safety and compliance. So if you sign up, you will be receiving the new updated schedule, and hopefully we all going to see the fast resolution for this. And I personally understand the workers. I also understand the truckers which will be affected. And somehow I don't understand our government. And I really do believe that this should never come to this point. And unfortunately, We have to be preparing yourself to new America because things are not looking that bright. But we cannot give up. We have to keep going. We have to learn how to do better. We need to become pros at whatever we do. And hopefully, together, we can change America for the better again.